Twitter, of course, so it's not just mine, but we're here. Their Mirage game maybe not as quite good as their Cash game, but definitely something to watch out from. Godsent, obviously going into the 9th round, going to need this. This is their map pick. This is their chance for Retribution to bring it back from from a map loss on the previous and take this to Inferno, where they could certainly take it as well. I think Inferno, if anything, while I wouldn't lean too heavily towards Godsent, it's certainly going to be a better choice than Cash. And at least they got rid of Cobble, but it seems like Space Soldiers have a new favourite map. Either way, we're going to head into this one. Space Soldiers starting things off on the T side. Godsent over on CT. What are your expectations for here? Do you think 2-0? You think Godsent pulling it back? What are your thoughts, Connor?
I mean, a part of me, I'm always so ambiguous when you ask me these questions.
Yeah,
I just realized I never give you an answer.
You're such a politician. I love putting you on the spot. It's so entertaining. I'm going to make a compilation of me asking you questions and you going, well, they could win. They could also lose.
I'm not a gambling man, Hugo. But if I was, I'd have to say Space Soldiers just take this. I think that on an individual level, they're kind of a step above and beyond. But then again, I say that, and then I remember the fact that while Xanterra's had 20 kills in 10 rounds, it was just him really that kind of stepped up to that level of a pedigree. And even then, Godsent were able to almost bring things back. So I think it will definitely boil down to whether or not anyone from either team can seriously step up. I feel like Freddie B yesterday had an incredible start to certain games. He was kind of the Xanterras of Godsent at times. And yet, I also have a vivid memory of Belgium being 10-5 up on the T side of Mirage just yesterday, before watching that game ultimately slide the way of Godsent. So I don't think that at any moment I'll be able to call off either team. We know that these players are very capable of remaining resilient, remaining impactful. But decoys, yet again.
Second half definitely going to be interesting for Godsent, but kicking it off is the CT side. Last map, Xanterra's had 37 kills. Hopefully he'll have the same performance if Space Soldiers are to take this map. And if not, it's going to be difficult. And look at this setup outside of B as well. 2 players on the boost, waiting for anyone to get aggressive in the apartments. They may be fed exactly that. Pith has pushed down. He's not committed. He's instead just deep by the chair. Space Soldiers, they set up early outside of B, but still holding on to A at the same time in case Godsent get aggressive. They're looking for a free pick. If Godsent feed themselves into this, Space Soldiers can commit off the back of a kill, but Xanterras looks to burst his way out of Palace, actually not falling back. As 2 more players push up into the B apartment, Space Soldiers are looking for the B commitment, but still Pith is ever close. Still Pith is pushed, and he'll push further as well, deeper into the apartments by the kitchen now. If they only waited a few more seconds, they may have had the free kill. Right now, Calix is looking towards the underpass. Disco Doppler's still on short. Space Soldier's about to walk right into the hands of Pith. He's there, 1 kill, almost a second as well. He finds it, bomb drop, looks for more, but he can just fall back. He doesn't need to hold on to this. Allow the rotation to come through. They've got a man advantage up by 2, but Despe trades as Space Soldiers reconvene and fall back towards A.
That's a crucial kill because not only do they retrieve the bomb, but they've now put Godsent in this position where they're stacked up on the B site. So a quick redirect at A will then put Freddie B to the test, and he passes the first hurdle by finding Despe inside of Connector. Calix now has to be wary of Cat, and that's where Freddie stops him at the bottom of Connector. Done. Is he? Ooh. And Freddie B with another.
Nice.
Speak of the devil, did say that maybe he steps up. And that one was spicy. 3 frags from the ticket booth. And that's, of course, going to afford Godsent thereby. Now, Pith gets aggressive inside of apartments. I like that. A little bit of informational play towards B. Does, of course, give time for your teammates to rotate if necessary. And as Pith takes the first 2 steps towards victory, it is then Freddie B with the final 3. So very well done there by Godsent, just using individual play to find themselves a little bit of momentum, but they also find a little bit of a challenge because Despe's got a scout, and he starts it off by tagging 2, Disco and Twist, near 50. But Space Soldiers lose that scout, and so they'll just need to use these pistols instead, one of which already dead.
Well, you mentioned Freddie B had a great performance yesterday, and he's looking to continue that into this map. 5 kills, and we're only halfway through the second round. Xanterra's, he's going to look to trade with the Deagle towards top mid. The nade's in, got to be careful. Bomb still dropped, and Godsent have full control, but this time it's again the Pith aggression in apartments gets punished. Freddie B certainly won't, as he finds himself a third of the round. It's all onto Engine. 1 gun. That's a UMP. In this kind of gunfight, you're only going to expect Freddie B to win it, but also Twist has crept in through. So it's just a matter of time before Engine just gets mowed down. The peak comes in for Freddie, and there's 4. What a start to the game. 7 kills in. If I remember correctly, Connor, we had Xantares with 3 on the pistol, 4 on the next Antico, and 3 on the round after that. He had 10 kills over the course of 3 rounds. Freddie is currently doing the exact same.
A wise man once said Freddie B can be the Xantares of Godsent.
He certainly can.
Glocks this time for Space Soldiers. Just Glocks. Glocks and nothing more. Not a flashbang, not a smoke, not much of a hope, but maybe they can just flood into the B-bomb site. At least Mirage is one of those maps where you can go for the Glock train. Unfortunately, it is Pith to make contact with an MP9, and versus unarmored opponents, he will rip flesh from bone. Of course, with Hampus hot on the heels of the tease, that's just the next layer of this setup. Disco, Doppelin, and Hampus finding the first 2. Despe, sure enough, with a Glock, does get himself a bit of a response, and Major in the corner goes down, just as does the rest of the offense. Space Soldiers losing the pistol, unable to upset, and so we find ourselves here, Hugo, in the 4th round with a 3-0 score to the Swedes.
Perfect start to their CT side again. It was weak yesterday versus Belgium, but they certainly brought it back on the T side. In fact, they may not even need to do so if they continue in this. But it's a bonus. Well, they have rifles to play with. Pitts down on an MP9, a scout for Twist instead of that AWP. I feel like with these kind of rounds, I'd like to see that open play. He's got the money for it. MP9's good enough to run because it's more effective than the scout, but 2 shots at a tag, you can just get burst shot in middle from these AKs here. And we know that these players on Space Soldiers certainly have the pedigree within them. So Twist has to be very careful, and he's already been wrapped from the underpass as well. If Engine gets out without Hampus spotting him from the connector, he has an angle onto that window, onto the head of Twist, but Hampus has moved back in for support. Engine slows down. He won't commit here for the time being, and again his teammates haven't burst the top of middle, so he doesn't want to walk out without some sort of support. But gun shown and Hampus tagging. He knows Twist's up there as well with a barrel of the scout sticking out. Godsent holds strong. An Engine tagged up a little bit, but they're going to reconvene and go back towards B.
Using the utilities to clear out their corners, Major will take that front line. Now that smoke grenade's actually going to envelop Pith. So he decides to change position, wants to keep eyes on something. Of course, Space Soldiers burning the clock down to the 45-second mark, still remaining in mid. And Godsent actually, curiously enough, have not gone for any kind of over-ambitious play. They've really just wanting to play responsively to Space Soldiers, who respond by pushing up catwalk. Off of the smoke towards connector, they've been afforded this position. Scout not going to try to pry, but Hampus does catch Xantares, and Pith will be tested now. MP9 up close. Could do some serious damage just slowing down the bomb. Gets 1 for his efforts. Major trades straight back. Calyx now up, and he is then down. So Major, with 10 seconds left over, hits a second headshot. He's got 7 seconds now. He fakes the plant once, and he won't even find his frag. Nor the plant, nor the round. 2 CTs remain at the end of that one as Godsent win the first gun. And that, of course, being on the bit of a freebie. Still using those SMGs from the previous round. They grab some AKs instead. Not only a free round, but a free upgrade. Gold members here on the CT side.
An AWP in as well, something Space Soldiers cannot afford right now. Anything, in fact. It's just down to pistols. Calyx is going to be in the armor. Everyone else flashbangs. And Space Soldiers not too good early on. They've got a huge task ahead of them. And this is not a round they're expected to win, especially not with the key players. And Tara's already down to 9 HP. Nice nade towards the top and middle. Turns him down to low. And Space Soldiers, they set up again. Heavy towards the B side of the map, and top mid taken, but without a smoke to cut off the connector or the window, it's going to be difficult for them to split up through short. Somehow Xantares still gets a kill on 9 HP, but he'll fall back off of A after finding that pick on the aggressive Hampus. Now Space Soldiers, they look to head their way underpass. With the combination of top mid and Xantares wrapping back round through the palace, it will be A after all, but Twist is here, and he's looking to shut down the mid control. Again, no smokes for Space Soldiers. They've got to take gunfights, and they've got to be careful in doing so. Major's tagged up, Disco Doppelin dinked, but it doesn't matter as he takes down Engine. And this should be Godsent regaining control of the round as Space Soldiers one by one start to fall, and that they shall. Freddie B another, and almost cleans up, but has to switch to the pistol. It's enough, he finds it. 5 rounds on the board for Godsent. Freddie B 13-0.
Damn. still has more kills than the rest of his team combined. So what's the solution other than just killing Freddy? I mean, Disco Doppler doesn't have deaths. But he also doesn't have 13 kills, Hugo. Not yet, anyways. Maybe he then takes the reins, gets into control of the game. Space Soldiers, though, this is still early on. Freddy B is going to get aggressive. Plays with fate. Loses his life for it. Calyx with a kill. Hampus with a trade frag. Crucially so, as it will contain any losses at the A site. We do still see that rotation over. Disco Doppler trying to get ahead of what could have been a commitment, but in fact, it is mid yet again in question. Twist off of the flashbang, tries to pry towards connector, but he's got to be careful because there are so many T's down here that they could overwhelm him up close.
What?
Just like that. Xantares winning the duel, creating the space and trying to cross into the hands of Disco Doppler. Whips back round, and he still goes down to the AK of the CT side. Now, this is a 3 versus 3 created, and you can see a little bit of hesitation from Space Soldiers. Remember, Calyx did get traded out towards ramp, so they have no clue where Godsent could be playing from. And in fact, Hampus is in the palace, looking like a king.
The issue is from this position, right? If Engine finds a pick on A, while they're walking in towards B, it could easily draw a rotation for Godsent. But now with him going down, I was going to say, with Hampus playing passive, it's no option. With him dead, it's even worse. Godsent don't move players over. Hampus is good enough to hold this site alone, and so we can have 2 on B. So it's a 2-on-2 as Space Soldiers walk into the site. And Godsent are so well prepared for this setup. They've got both players hiding. One towards short, one close on bench, and not peeking at all. Time is low for Space Soldiers. They've got to get this bomb down. They're going to push in. Nice shot from Major, but still Pith waits. Fake plant, and he peeks out for one. Major there as well. Doesn't matter. Pith is there. Godsent 6 rounds on the board. They find another and keep the double open play as well.
Even though Pith there has to keep his attention trained towards the store, it almost leads it to then come up with the win, right? He loses his teammate over towards Arch. Sure enough, that instant headshot, but unfortunately for Space Soldiers, they have no clue whether there is a second player there. And so Pith, once he hears the bomb plant and spots the Opper up close, he knows both men distracted by their vices. So even though he loses his teammate, it's all right. Pith is there to clutch.
And Space Soldiers are even prepared as well. They faked the bomb. Major didn't commit to that bomb plan. And while it actually, looking back in hindsight, would have been a good decision to make, just due to the position of Pith, not able to stop him from the bench without peeking wide, they were prepared for a second guy there. They were aware of the possibility, but they still lose both players without that kill. Great defense from the bench. And Freddy B, nice to see he's not alone as well. Pith 7 and 3 on the board. As we see Space Soldiers back on the buy, they've got utility to play with again once more. As they set up for just your standard A smokes, Calyx going to cross as well, bypassing any aggressive ramp positioning from Godsent, but there's none there. As Twist sits towards the back box of the CT spawn, Freddy B aggression on towards a palace, and this is not a man you want to challenge right now. With his scoreline 13-1, he's certainly a dangerous man to contend with, and Space Soldiers going to give their best shot. As the smoke goes out there ready to play, and fast out onto A.
Freddy B, though, may go unchecked. Attention could be pulled away from the push on Tetris. He does take 2, but Engine is there to get it right back. Hampus as well, aggressively from stairs, fully blind with another. But Engine at least responding with a headshot of his own, only to then go down. Hampus stepping up. Not only to the top of the staircase, but also with those 3 frags. Very well done on his case, and that then leaves us with a 7-0 start. How the tables have turned, Hugo.
Yeah, that's to say the very least. What's going on? Space Soldiers looking like an entirely different team, as are Godsent here in the second map of this best of 3. Semi-final ahead of both these teams, and while on paper, Godsent seems to have the stronger roster, even with the 2 stand-ins. Space Soldiers, again, they've got Despe here. Not that it's a huge drop-off in firepower, but it's definitely a change from their typical roster, Paz not being able to play this event for the time being. And Godsent impressing us so far. Almost as much as this CT spawn. We can see the rotations coming through. Space Soldiers are hitting into the B bomb site. There's 2 players there, it seems, but actually make it 3. Space Soldiers bounding on in. Pitt's going to be there on the defense. 2 kills. I imagine they were good, but Calyx is going to trade. Still should be the cleanup from Godsent. It's only pistols for Space Soldiers. And while it's a half buy, they're making some damage at least. Godsent losing 2 men on the site. Xantares alone.
Ooh.
Here we go. Hopefully we'll leave this ball in this round.
I can tell you it was a very clean rotation.
That is true at the very least.
Not a single bomb planted thus far. Poor Space Soldiers really finding zero footing in these rounds. Even when they think they're close, they then get denied by a guy like Pith, or by Hampus, or by Freddie B, who doesn't even let them get close to bomb sites. He cuts them down earlier on. Right now it's Disco Doppelin in mid with an op. Twist taking a stance on A, trying to cover the shoulder of Hampus. We've seen Engine pry in from underpass multiple rounds. He'll do that yet again, because Disco Doppelin actually rotates towards Ticket, so that they are conceding a little bit of window control, but in return for that, they'll have that advanced positioning on the A bomb site. Even if Space Soldiers were to try to commit to A, they're supposed to stop at ramp. That's at least what Godsent looked to do. Of course, with this smoke down, for all Disco Doppelin knows, we could be watching Space Soldiers pushing 5 players up Cat. It's for that reason that Pith's committed to Arch. Again, no information, so it's just going to have to be shots when they eventually arrive, which they now do. And while Xantares takes Palace, they've lost 1 player on ramp, but there is still the bomb carrier trying to contest that. Bomb carrier down. Now the CT setup's worked out superbly. They've got control of the bomb. They're catching kills elsewhere on the map, and they've left Space Soldiers scrambling here, completely spit, as Engine has a massive wraparound.
Yeah, they don't expect it, so he may get a lineup. He does. Both kills. 30 seconds left, so he's got to make a play soon as Pith rotates off short. He could have held the cross, but instead he comes into the window room. Engine back on the ramp, and the smoke down as well. An aggressive position. Hampus can hold on. Engine doesn't have time to wait. He can't wait for the smoke, so he flashes through, but Molotov on the bomb. He runs into it, and he'll get away as well. 30 HP, but that was certainly worth the risk. The issue is he doesn't know the location of Pith. Playing with fire, the situation is dire, and Pith will clean up from the CT spawn. Godsent 9 rounds in, double up saved. And Space Soldiers still not on the board. What is going on?
I'm just going to go ahead and jinx it. Remember that Godsent are the only team so far this weekend that have 16 0'd. At least in the male event. I don't know about the other.
And this is one of those buys that Space Soldiers are always going to go for, because you can get 1 smoke or 1 flash or a couple of bits of utility, but it's never really enough for a full setup. That being said, it's, you know, it's temptation. They have money, so they may as well just go for the buy. The issue is, it doesn't result in too much. Not that they've been getting anything done with the full buys either, as Godsent is tearing them apart every single round. It's smoke setups again on A. 1 player splitting underpass Major, the man with no utility. As the smokes rain over Godsent, they've already pre-rotated players in.
Looking to get ahead of the push yet again. Not with that forward advancement, but rather with the numbers game. However, it is just 3. Hampus again aggressive on the staircase, but this time he's fully smoked off. Should hear the players beneath him. Twist with a flashbang and a frag. But Hampus's push has been shut down already. Major clearing the man on Cat, then has to deal with Jungle. Twist gets split, and there we have it. 3 versus 2. As Freddie B now the last man left. I told you I was going to jinx it.
Yeah, called it. 1 round ahead.
It's not over yet. Freddie B had started off this half with a phenomenal performance. Can he now come up big? Xantares wary of Palace, but patient on the push, and Freddie B finds the first. That's a little bit of footing, but a lot of damage dealt back to his disfavor. 22 is what he now sits on as he jumps to the top of Ticket. Knows that Calyx is still on the bomb site because he hasn't seen the movement. Now he finds another. And with a fresh reload, Major's on 30 HP. He peeks, he finds it, and Space Soldiers will get their first round, but Freddie B making them work for it and making them rebuy most notably. This is a prime example of a full reset. $3,500 on 3 of the players. That's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things.
I like that clutch as well for Major, right? Instead of just playing passive and allowing Freddie to take the site and then force him to peek with the bomb tap that he would surely go for, Major instead brings the fight to him. He knows he can't trade instantly onto Calyx dead on the site, but instead he can get into an off angle on top of the stairs. Always going to catch out Freddie. He wasn't pre-aiming the position, and why would he? You're meant to be playing passive in that kind of situation if you can't instantly trade, but no. Major, nice aggression, catches him off guard, round on the board as you say, but still a long road to go. And there's, of course, as mentioned, reset potential. This is a difficult round for Space Soldiers, and they'll go back to basics. This time it's not a retake setup, though, for Godsent. They've already got one player committed to this gunfight. That's Disco Doppler. However, if Space Soldiers can get rid of him early on, this could be perfect for them. Smoke's still got to be going over, I would assume. Although maybe not. Flash in. No, that's a smoke over. Flash to follow. Disco Doppler not blind, but Engine certainly is. He's dead too. 2 kills for Disco as he looks for a third. Major going to trade things back, but the smoke is deep on jungle, allowing Pith to jump into the sandwich. This round is looking terrible for Space Soldiers, and it will fall apart. 10 rounds to Godsent. The reset comes in. It may not be a 16-0, but it may come closer than that.
I feel like this reinvigorated Godsent is very much what we saw last night when they were playing versus Belgium.
Yeah.
You know, they get 5-10 after the first half of the second map on Nuke, obviously the choice of Belgium at the time. And then they start to surmount a comeback that ultimately falls short. We think, oh, where'd Godsent go? They looked so fantastic in the round prior. Then we show up on the third map at 16-0, goodbye, good night. This time around, it's a loss on cash, despite the effort of a comeback that is translated into a convincing start to the second game. Space Soldiers could still find 4 rounds, because this 5th one looks a little unrealistic, but I say that.
What?
Engine and Xanterra is combining for 2, so pistols still prevalent. Pith to the top of the sandbags, obvious boost there, so now they know 2 CTs are in this position, but Twist now reveals himself as the 3rd, and Calyx takes him. Calyx, of course, running out of bullets. Puts things into an awkward spot, but the bomb on B. With a CZ, he can't contest Cat. He's just going to have to plant and hope that Xanterras can get over in time.
And he's got an AK as well. Even if Major dies, Xanterras can surely find this clutch. But Major looks to make it easier. Damage done, not enough. But Xanterras can certainly catch the cross, and he will. Spots a second as well. Pith with the sprays, and Xanterras peeks out wide. Good round from Space Soldiers. You said this is not one they should win. And I don't blame you for that statement, but Space Soldiers are able to do the impossible. They come back with the reset onto Godsent after the force.
And 5 rounds now on this T side is actually doable because the buy here from Godsent's not going to be the best.
Yeah.
We've got a P90 on Pith. Disco Doppler, unless he's got a gun on the ground, is just going to be on the 5-7.
I mean, if they win this round, it's 4 at the very least.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, it's definitely minimal and not what you would have expected after having seen how Space Soldiers played Cash, but it is still early days. Right now it's Calyx towards ramp. Yet again, Godsent going to get aggressive on that portion of the map, trying to get themselves up close and personal, trying to circumvent the disadvantage of having a 5-7, but the AK still reigns supreme. Xanterra is finding Twist as well, now puts this one into a serious contender of a round from Space Soldiers. Hampus ready to flash his way through, trying to bring it back with an individual play, but instead he is slain. And, well, we've got 2 CTs up, one of which with a kill. Pith pushing underpass, trying to find Engine, but Freddy B then finds him. So Pith spooks him into his own death. Puts Space Soldiers into a 3v1 now.
Nice attempt from Pith, but P90 at range not going to work. Good dig through the box. Damage done, but Freddy B, even with a commitment here, it's so difficult. He's being wrapped as well. Spots it, but it's not enough. Despe will clean up the kill. And Space Soldiers, 4 rounds is looking good. As Godsent are down on pistols for this, they've got to save for that last of the half. There's no way you force in this situation. Maybe if it's getting close or if you want to take this sort of 1 step ahead. But 10 rounds here, they can afford to give up 1, take it for 11, try and get that 11-4 half. That's perfectly fine for Godsent. They will not turn their nose up. It's their T-sides that we looked to pull that comeback yesterday anyway. So having 10, 11 rounds on CT side will certainly do enough. The Space Soldiers, from 10-1 half, they're looking to bring it back to something a little more respectable. And it's certainly a start. Godsent aggressive in the apartments. Engine's here with the M4. They line up. He's going to get 1, and that is it. Gun dropped. So P250, the lone P250, is now going to be taking a kill, and Disco Doppler upgrading to the M4. Now we just see Space Soldiers fast hitting this A site as Godsent rotate back in quickly.
Massive emphasis here on CT spawn, and it's there that Calyx makes contact, gets himself the first kill. Pith able to trade, and then Despe takes 2. So the M4 now coming into play as it tries to spam away, which would have been nice had he been able to stop the bomb a second time round. But in fact, it is Space Soldiers now playing in the 15th and final of the first half. Essentially 5 rounds T-side Mirage. I'm going to be not convinced by the offensive Space Soldiers, but still give them the benefit of the doubt as they switch over to the CT side because we know what they are capable of. Oh, do we ever.
Freddie B slowed down for sure in the last few rounds, and that's allowed Space Soldiers to get themselves on the board. He's still at 21, but without him fragging heavy, Godsent are actually struggling a little bit more. 5 rounds would certainly be doable, but Pith tries to make it as impossible as possible. That doesn't make any sense, but 30 HP left on him as he falls back off of that B-bomb site. Godsent's still aggressive as ever over towards A as they look to maybe take some palace control, but instead it's calyx who's walking out ramp. This could be dangerous with the combination of a split coming in through the connector. The main player to watch will be Twist, just trying to hold off onto that exact position, but it's actually a double setup towards balcony, or at least below it. calyx, well, he may check the first. There's no way he'll expect 2. There's a kill. Without seeing a thing as well, he doesn't know Freddie B's here. So while he bypasses it and wraps towards jungle, he's still got to be aware of the fact that Freddie B could strike at any time. So Space Soldiers move back towards A. He's going to be there. And he does get damaged, but he doesn't get the kill. It's calyx looking in quickly to trade. That is unfortunate. The one chance Godsent had to pick up this round is gone. It's going to be almost impossible now as the bomb comes through ramp.
Of course, Disco's still trying to make earlier contact, right? But that flashbang goes high, and Pith goes through smoke. Goes straight into his death as Disco sits on 50. And the party comes to a close. 5 rounds by Space Soldiers as they get 4 of them in the final 4 rounds. All 5 in the very last 6. Considering how this half started off with, Hugo, not even a single bomb plant defuse by Godsent needed there in the opening. Hell, Space Soldiers have to be happy. They then, again, at that very last hurdle, put some rounds on the board. Very similarly to what we saw from Godsent on the opening half of Cash, which just then goes to remind us, of course, that Space Soldiers could make this game a question mark with maybe an early pistol, maybe a potential reset as well, looking to get themselves over this round differential. It's certainly not an easy spot, but it's certainly doable, especially when we realize that anybody from Space Soldiers can go off in an individual way, you know, meaning a 3K on a pistol, a la Freddie B. But it's going to take something like that, I believe, in order to rob this one away from Godsent. They themselves are just as susceptible to a convincing start. Space Soldiers, defuse, and a smoke for Despe. The offense will have Hampus on a smoke and flash of his own. And as they group up towards the top of mid, leaving bomb inside apartments, it's actually going to be Pith who clears out underpass. So taking portions of the map eventually, but also making contact versus engine. Just as the players round the top of mid, Pith strikes from beneath. And then Zentares stops him then. But indicating, of course, this B-site split is the presence of Catwalk, so calyx just going to commit.
Yeah, and they spotted him as well. Leg seen, now he'll just be hunted. Still gets a kill. Somehow he's still alive at the back of the site, and he's got to find more, but he's already dead. Luckily, Zantares runs in with a single frag, and Major's alone. Bomb plant going to come in. They'll commit. They don't know he snuck into the site, so he's wrapping the backside, and he may be able to get a free one from the back of it. Freddie got to be jumping, and he doesn't catch the kill. That's so unfortunate. Without that jump, Major may land the headshot, and suddenly it's a doable round. But no, Freddie finds 3 in the pistol, as you called, Connor. Great pistol round to bring things back for Godsent. Just to keep themselves in this one again, I was slightly worried coming into the second half that we could just see Space Soldiers pull it back into maybe their map. They've certainly got it in them, but no, Godsent are solidifying their place at least temporarily. As we see pistols out here for the Space Soldiers side. Despe holding on to money for the AWP, and Godsent, they're playing it safe with 3 rifles. Back towards A they go. The Eagles, CZs, lone USP. Space Soldiers, not a lot of options, especially not with 1 player towards the back of CT.
Still using the incendiary to clear beneath, wanting to try and circumvent any kind of close pistol play, but in fact, it is the Deagles on the backside of the bomb site. Hampus, what? Tabs Despe as he was the bottom of the totem pole. And now all 5 Godsent players will survive, at least into the after plant. What was that tap from Hampus?
Ridiculous, just, you know, as you do. We saw that boost out in, I think it was by Power Masters. Twist was actually boosted over for Liquid to force OT.
Yeah, that was a really nice play.
Yeah, it's becoming more common now, I guess, off the back of that. We've never really seen that to be too used.
then again, very susceptible to those kinds of spray downs, right? It's a very common angle. It's kind of like Xantera's playing Toxic on A side of Cash. You know exactly where the squeaky door is. It is only one player wide, so if that door is open and someone's in it, you know where to fire.
Yeah.
Same for that play, right? So Hampus, he reads it, punishes it as well, and will now push Godsent into a 12th round with a very realistic opportunity of finding a 13th already. Vanilla pistol from Space Soldiers. No sauce.
Well, let's see if they're hot. As Godsent, they certainly are up towards B. Fast into mid for Hampus. He's going to find one. That's it. Trade in for Space Soldiers, but it's only a UMP grab. That's a positive of just sending a solo SMG into a site, and Twist is a great example of that as well. One for him. Even if a trade is found, it's only a Mach 10 dropped. But I don't think even that's going to come through. He's ready and waiting. Spots a second engine dead. The second player dropped on the site, and he's dead too, but it doesn't matter. Site's taking control on B for Godsent. They've got the bomb down as well. So yes, they lose 2 in the process, but they find kills off the back of it. So money going to be made back off those SMGs. And Major and Despe last 2 alive for Space Soldiers. Already got to give up the round. It will be 13 to Godsent. And this is starting to get out of control now. Space Soldiers will be able to buy next round, but how much can they get done with it? Because if they don't come in with their first buy, with a victory there, I think we're going to be seeing Inferno.
Despe wants to clean him up. He's only going to get 1 for his efforts.
He's got so much money now, though. Saved on the second round, SMG in the third, AWP in the fourth.
Double op setup from Space Soldiers straight away here on their CT buys. And of course, this kind of purchase is very good at curbing enthusiasm and pushes from a team like Godsent. We have seen them set a faster pace in some of these rounds. If you just post up your AWPs and wait for a dry peek from a terrorist, somebody looking for an early gun duel, you drop them, you stop them, and then you exploit the man advantage. That's the game plan. See? Major. He wants his kill in apartments. Meanwhile, of course, it is Despe on mid. So no op at A, but still 2 players there. It's in fact Major who will feel the heat here in the 19th round. First man crosses, gets by. Re-peek, also not going to get himself a kill. He gets caught up in the boxes, and that costs him. Pith with a spinal tap. And a 4 versus 4 as Twist hits the headshot as Despe tries to peek. Freddy B, he gets aggressive, and with a Molotov will convince Space Soldiers back. They should save. It's done. What a convincing take from Godsent. Definitely helps out, of course, that the shots are missed by Major, and especially the fact that he gets caught up there, fully blinded on those boxes. Didn't know where he was, and then he's sent to the grave.
Yeah, and that AWP peak from Twist as well, holding the angle, shuts down the rotation. If that kill comes in for Space Soldiers, they suddenly go for the round, but no. With Twist finding this shot off into the market, it is going to solidify Godsent's spot with 14 here. And yes, double save is good for Space Soldiers. That's why Godsent are trying to hunt it here as they chase into A, but they'll get away with it. And it won't go too much further as well because the loss bonus isn't built up enough. They're getting 2,900 for this round now, so they can't even drop over rifles other than Famas's, but maybe they just want to play the utility and let people play UMPs. Famas bought for Xantares. He smokes himself up. And everyone else struggling here into what could be one of the last rounds of this map, Connor. We could be seeing Inferno after all, after a ridiculously confident game from Godsent. We had a strong start for Space Soldiers in Cash, but Godsent brought it back to a respectable scoreline. However, while Godsent started off this map, Space Soldiers have not done the same. They have yet to pull themselves back into a realistic standpoint, and at this point in time, I'm not too confident for the Turkish, as it seems like Sweden is one step ahead.
Smoke grenades early on in mid from Godsent. That will afford them some footing towards Catwalk. They would love to go into that B site split, and yet again, it's just Major here earlier on. And as the first smoke fades, that slight gap being watched by Freddy. Both Cat players offer their backs, but Xantera is not going to stop them. Disco Doppelin cracks open the B-bomb site, and it crumbles at the feet of Godsent. They walk straight forward. Now, Despe is going to try to control the back of Market. Oh, and Pith hits the headshot just as the smoke pops. 5 versus 3, Space Soldiers should save. They're going to have a very real, very difficult time ahead. Even as they try to fall back, Hugo, they get stopped in their tracks. It is just Engine left over, and while he sprays for one, Hampus takes it. 15-5. I tried to draw a comparison between Freddie B and Zantares before this game started, but I did not think it would actually be this close of a comparison. 29-8. As lights out of a performance as we saw from Zantares on Cash. However, this time around, I don't think Space Soldiers will put up as much as a fight as the Swedes did on this CT side. It'll be a difficult time, seeing as they have the UMP MP9 and a Mag 7, and the fact that Godsent, they want to get it over with. They want a gunfight on A.
Gunfight they'll get. Pith and Twist quick to trade. Engine dead. With Space Soldiers with 3 men up, they're desperately rotating back in, but as no, Mag 7 not the best for the retake, and that's the furthest point of attack as well. He's got to come from B. As Despe defends towards the CT spawn, Doppler aggressive. And 3 men up for Space Soldiers. They look to try and find this retake. No kits in play. They are going to have to speed things up into this site. Godsent, they've got everything going for them. Gun upgraded from Major. He's got a rifle. And while Zantares is coming from the back lines, he again has to speed on up. He's going to be heard making footsteps. So the player Twist surely heard him, but no, Zantares strikes from the back. And Hampus is going to be alone. Major finds it. It's a defuse for Space Soldiers. They keep themselves in it one more round. With 15-6, Connor, is it even realistic?
Now, when the comeback started to happen from Godsent on Cash, we saw that exchange of rounds, right? That trading of blows for about 6 in a row, where each team would win a round. But unfortunately for Space Soldiers, because they don't start off this second half convincingly, they in fact do not have that margin of error. Yeah. They have 0 wiggle room whatsoever. They would need now 9 straight rows. They cannot afford a single slip-up. And obviously that's much more unlikely than the Godsent comeback in the previous map. It's still doable, however improbable. Calyx, of course, going to be tasked with an A hold. He's going to need to get at least 1 or 2 kills at this point. If not, Godsent will be able to just move their way further into the CT spawn, and that's a very strong after plant to work with. But because Godsent hesitate and don't execute straight away, they have afforded an opportunity for Space Soldiers to get players closer to the bomb sites. Zantares pushing through the smoke, but the fire, of course, convinces them back. So now he actually has cover. He's not standing in the full open of the bench, and Calyx decides to go above, spraying for 1 as Despe hits the op shots ×2. However, he's still got 2 Ts to take. Twist and Freddie B on the other side, outnumbered by 1, and with the bomb dropped in the open, it's the Opper of Godsent to have to come up big. Can he do this?
Up on the stairs. The early take from Godsent means he actually has time. And the cross up, Engine goes into the site of Twist, the barrel, finds a shot, and now it's Major left alone. Bomb plant can even come in. Twist will just commit to it straight up. He knows where Major is. He knows he's coming from the jungle, and that will certainly clarify it as well. Shoots off, backs off towards the CT spawn with good timing on the flash. Now Major has the retake. He has to go for it. He's got to move in quick, or Godsent will be able to find map number 2 as Major sneaks on up. Twist maybe second guessing, but that noise will certainly give it away. Missed shot with the bait, and nice shot from Twist. 1v3 to finish off the map, 16-6. And we'll be heading to Inferno as a third, as Godsent, they are going to be able to take it away in dominant fashion as well. What a ridiculous map from the Swedes. To come off the back of that loss on Cash while they attempted the comeback, they just completely make a 180 and tear Space Soldiers away on Mirage.
Again, most notably starting off with Freddie B. Somebody from Godsent, I think, had to step up on an individual level, similarly to that of what Zantares did on Cash. I didn't necessarily know who it was going to be, and in this case, Freddie B fills that role. So very well done by him individually, and then the rest of the team as well to just translate that early success into a very convincing win. Remember, of course, 4 of those last 4 rounds on that first half actually go back to Space Soldiers. It's only that 4-round spree that then gives us a bit of a question mark. But with that question mark looming over our heads, we shall need a 3rd map in this series. We've gone the distance, ladies and gentlemen, and when we return from a short break, we will be back with Inferno of all maps.